What's going on?
Point of order, Mr. Mayor. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Inuvik, Town of Inuvik regular council meeting. I just want to acknowledge that we are within the Gwich'in settlement area, adjacent to the Inuvik settlement area, home to the Gwich'in, the Inuvialuit, other Indigenous people from the Northwest Territories and around the world, as well as people from many, many different places. All of that makes Inuvik a great place to live. With that, we'll call the meeting to order and adoption of the agenda. Moved by Councilor Gillis, second by Councilor Day. Any further additions, corrections? There have been a couple of items added, requests for council decisions. It's just motions based on the discussions we had on Monday night. And then there is one information item that's also was added late this afternoon. Any further discussion on the agenda? All in favor? To carry delegation presentations or petitions. We had Jesse from the RCMP here on Monday, gave an excellent report. Anyone make it out to the open house? Perfect, good. I had planned to, but got tied up letter ready. Anyway, they provide a great service, and the relationship that our protective services, fire department has, and even town council has right now with the RCMP is great, and I hope it continues. Item number 5, public question period. Looks like we're a little thin on the public, so I don't think there's any questions. Item 6, adoption of the minutes from the sorry, you got a bit of a typo in there from the April 7th and 9th council meeting. Moved by Councilor Merrill, second by Councilor Parrott. Any further corrections, changes needed to the minutes? All those in favor? Motion carried. Action items. We went through these items on Monday. Any further questions or updates on any of the action items? One further item. I know Deputy Mayor Barlick had asked about funding for Inuvik Works, and I gave a summary. Patricia will be here the meeting at our last meeting in April, but one funding I did forget to mention was that Mentorability, which is a group out of Yellowknife, but I think they've got federal funding to hire people in the communities to be mentors. They contacted us about Inuvik Works providing that. So they are providing, I think, close to 20 hours a week of manager's salary, but not at the level we pay, but still they're making a contribution. So that's considerable contribution to that salary. And it's we've already received the money for that for this whole fiscal year. So that money, and they've already provided some training, and it's something the manager would do anyway, so it was a great fit. And Patricia's already doing that, getting training for some people who have been interested in different things, as well as, you know, coaching people in other areas. So it's great fit and a win-win for both us and Mentorability. And they reached out to us, and so that was great. All right. New business. Free commercial tipping for cleanup. Yes, we'll need to get this on the floor, so we will, but in order to get it on the floor, you have to decide which option you're going to put as forward as a motion. So maybe we can just have because this has come out of the Public Works and Protective Services Committee meeting on Tuesday.
I'll make a motion for number 2.
Okay, you're gonna make a motion for number 2, seconded by. Somebody want to second that? Oh, Councilor Merrill. Okay, so discussion, questions, comments?
Do we have an estimate on average, how many some of our large dumpers are bringing as far as numbers of loads?
So if you look at on the financial implications on those years, that's what we didn't collect. So if let's say an end dump is I think it's $125. So if you look at 60,000, at that time Northwind had just purchased 3 lots or something. They cleaned up 3 lots in the industrial area they had. Probably in in 2022, there were Allen Services was cleaning up a bunch of lots that they had, so you'll see a bump in those kind of 3 areas, 2019, 2020, and 2022. Otherwise, it's been around 28,000. And so if you do the math on that, dividing that by 125 would give you the number of truckloads.
Yeah, so I just did a quick calc. It's $25,000 just as a rough average, divided by 100 is 200 loads.
By
125.
yeah, would be 200 loads.
That's at 25,000.
Yeah.
Just as nice to think about. And then depending on how many people we have accessing that.
Yeah, well, it's open to anybody, and it's open, I think here it says for 5 days to anybody in the industrial area, basically doing a cleanup, taking whatever they have out of there. Most of the discussion we had, and Councillor McDonald or Councillor Lemieux can also chirp in here. Most of the discussion we had was a lot on, is it making a difference? Because in the last 20 years, since we started it, it seems like that area has actually gotten worse. So what do we need to do to facilitate getting some of this cleaned up? We know some lots have pretty much been abandoned, and so those are going to take a bigger intervention. But are there lots where the property owners are still active on those lots to be able to get that cleaned up? So that was a lot of the discussion. Councilor McDonald, anything else to add there?
No, just that for those who weren't there, we also discussed limiting on weight once we get the waste scale working properly, which is probably a better way to do things in my view. But this is new. I didn't give it 10 loads, but I think it's meets in the middle quite well to where we were at during the meeting the other day. And then I think it's a fairly good idea.
Good. Deputy Mayor Barrett?
Sorry, just for our information too, did you guys even discuss doing like a 50% discount or something as an option as well? Rather than, just.
No, we didn't discuss discounts very much. It was mostly whether there would be free tipping.
Right.
And then whether we limit the number of loads or whether there wouldn't be free tipping. So it's kind of those 3 options is what mostly was discussed. And then he also.
If I may, can I just jump in? Okay, I was just gonna say, like we talked about this on Monday, the free tipping, like that period, again, I'll just reiterate what we discussed in that meeting. I think a lot of people, small businesses take advantage of that. I think a lot of homeowners take advantage of that as well. I think it's something that we should keep in place. Once we get the ability or get the scale fixed so that we can actually do weights, capping the industrial and commercial amount, I think makes a lot of sense. And, maybe even incorporating a discount after a certain weight has been reached is fine. But I really think that free tipping thing is something that we should keep in place. I know a lot of people utilize it and it benefits a lot of the businesses and community members. So that's my 2 bits.
Thank you, Councilor Lemieux. Yeah, the motion on the table is that we allow free tipping for that period, up to 10 loads per tipper. Councilor Day.
I would go for number 1, only because the issue is getting larger. Than, we're limiting companies to dump only once a year, so companies are holding on to their trash for this opportunity. And if we were to start trying to put a limit out there, at least give them maybe a year's notice. Next year, we're gonna implement this 10 loads, so they're not hoarding onto the garbage.
Councilor Merrill.
Have we decided how big a load is? Like, is a pickup truck equal to a whatever truck?
It's, to make it simpler this year, a load was at whatever they brought out.
Okay.
So if they were using a 16 cubic meter end dump, or if they were using a trailer, or if somebody just wanted to bring it out on a flatbed, they would just count the number of trips this year, because we don't have the scales operational, but in the future, it would be by weight.
Thank you.
Just a comment. The dump is always open for everybody to bring stuff out. We just charge, depending on who it is and what it is that they're bringing out, how large the load is. But for residential, if you're cleaning up any time of the year, there's no charge. Deputy Mayor Barrow.
So I would just say, I kind of just made the motion just to get the discussion going. I'd be willing to withdraw that motion if my seconder is willing to, based on the discussion around here. Withdraw the motion, if we want to perhaps put forward another one.
We can withdraw it, or we can vote on it, and then if it's
Okay, well-
defeated, then we can make another motion. That's probably
Easier.
easier, yeah.
All right, then,
Councilor McDonald.
Yeah, just to kind of, voice my opinion on what Ed is saying, that no tipping wasn't intended to have companies hoard their garbage for a year. That's not what it's supposed to be. It was spring cleanup is one thing, but hoarding their garbage for the year so that you can get rid of it for free isn't the intent of any of that. So that is part of the problem, I think, that some of the people think that this is happening, and basically you just said it was happening. So, that kind of puts it's down.
It's happening.
Yeah, exactly, and we don't allow, this is the other thing we discussed at the meeting. We don't allow somebody doing a demolition, so if you're cleaning up a lot, getting rid of an old house, that's not allowed. But if you're cleaning up your industrial area, you've got that 10 days of, or 5 days of free tipping. The other thing I think people need to realize is, yes, it's great to take advantage of something that's free. But if there's a demolition project that's costing, $200,000 or $300,000, or, a cleanup that's costing a lot of money, the tipping fee is really a small portion of that. And, yeah. Anyway, so we'll call the question. We have a motion on the floor. I'll just read, sorry, Councilor Gillis.
So, I mean, if you can look at my account, we bring garbage there all year round, because we don't like to build it up, because that's disgusting, but the tipping fee, like on the complete opposites of what you're saying, it encourages us at that time of year to do it, and like exactly the way that you say it, that's the way we live by it. Like, you can check my account, we tip, like, we get a fee probably 4 or 5 a month. So we're constantly bringing garbage out there, because I don't want a big yard full of toilets, like, that's disgusting. But at the end of the year, when everything melts, it's the time of year, like, for our company, we plan like that full week or two to just be constantly looking at our yard and making those decisions to get rid of this, to get rid of that, and things that we wouldn't have done throughout the year, like, but I'm always doing dumping. I don't fill my yard with garbage, but at that time of year, it encourages businesses to clean their yard. So I just want to get back to the fact that if the original intent, it does encourage some businesses to do it. So just to be the other opposite, it's, not to save it all year, but literally to that driver, okay, well, it's free tipping. This is when we should be giving her on everything.
I agree. I think this is the point that Mario brought up last time too, and it's a valid point. I mean, I think most companies do make use of that time. But that's why the limitation, I think, is a good way to meet in the middle, is that you don't hoard in half of your year's garbage, but springtime comes and you have the opportunity to take your whatever amount is decided on to the dump after your yearly, collection, I guess, that hasn't gone on. And it still encourages that somewhat of a cleanup. I don't think it discourages at that point.
Okay, motion on the floor is be it resolved that the town of Inuvik hereby approves waiving commercial tipping fees to a maximum of 10 trips of any load size per customer or business between June 16th to the 20th. All those in favor of the motion?
Okay, count me in too.
Hey, no, sorry, Peter, I'm lost. We're approving the first one?
No, the motion on the floor is motion 2.
Okay, got it.
Be it resolved, the 10 trips or loads.
Okay,
Okay, all those in favor of motion 2? 3, 4. Mario, you said so.
Yeah. Yeah.
Motion carried. So we'll allow free tipping up to 10 trips per customer or business during that period. Okay,
Yeah, and then we are gonna look forward to doing something to ensure that the scale is functioning year round after the fact, right?
two things that, and it was direction to staff from the committee meeting, is get the scale working and get it operational so that it, in a sense, automatically does tickets, or doesn't do tickets in the case of free tipping. And then 2 was to go out and actually talk to some of the people out in the industrial area, about the opportunity to clean up and get things looking better.
Okay.
8.2, this was a discussion and motion that came out during the committee of the whole meeting, but we just now need to formalize that at the regular council meeting. So I think the fairly straightforward, and it's the exact same motion that was passed at the regular council meeting. Well, let's get it on the table. Moved by Councilor Merrill, second by Councilor Parrott. Further discussion on the motion. This is writing the response letters.
Nope.
All those in favor?
Aye.
8.3, request feedback on the liquor store hours. We did discuss that. We did say we would give counselors kind of a day and a half to talk to anybody they wanted to. So now we're bringing forward the motion based on the discussion. So mover and seconder for the motion, moved by Councilor Merrill, second by Deputy Mayor Barrick. Further discussion. Note in the motion that the hours are adjusted to what was recommended. So I think from noon till 2 p.m. Councilor Merrill.
so I asked numerous people and they were unanimous no, which surprised me, but a lot of people said they didn't support it and felt like it was actually going to encourage drinking, and felt like the Sunday was not only a day off from the liquor store operating, but also a day off for the staff.
Councilor Barrick and then Councilor McDonald.
I had quite the opposite experience. So everyone I asked was basically totally indifferent. They didn't really care. They thought it wasn't gonna make any significant change one way or another. So yeah, everyone I talked to basically said they didn't really care.
Councilor McDonald.
Yeah, it's shocking that I had a mixed bag reaction. So, I mean, for the most part, I would say people that I spoke to were fully for it, again, they weren't against it, they didn't care, it didn't seem to affect a lot of the people who I talked to. There was some that felt strongly that the hours should stay the same, and there were others that felt that it should be open, so I really feel like this is kind of a.
Okay. Councilor Parrott.
From speaking to community members, what I heard was that people were either opposed or neutral. The individuals who were opposed were very similar in response to the comments that we heard from Councilor Merrow. I didn't hear anyone that was for it, thinking that it was a good idea, so it's either neutral or negative.
Any further comments? I didn't talk to a lot of people, I talked to a couple people, and they were either indifferent, and a couple comments were, the bootleggers aren't gonna like that. So they saw it as an opportunity, that they saw it as, Sunday's a time when there's a lot of bootlegging going on, and so, they weren't gonna like the fact that the liquor store would be open, but that was, that was about 4 people. Those are the, 2 people that were indifferent, 2 people that said the bootleggers weren't gonna like it, so. Any
If I
further
can-
comments?
Yeah, if I can chime in, I'm just thinking with the increased number of tourists and stuff like that, that potentially will be coming through. Used to southern hours, typically they're open, given it's only for the summer. And, you know, those tourist months or whatever, you know, I'm in favor for it. If these guys want to, you know, work extra hours, they want to increase their revenue sales, I don't see a problem with it. I don't like the fact that bootlegging is a thing that goes on. If this is something that kicks it in the guts a little bit, I'm all for it. From what I'm understanding, listening to everybody else, the majority of people are really indifferent. So, you know, I'm for it. Anyway, that's my 2 cents.
Thank you, Councilor Lemieux. Any further comments on the liquor store hours?
Just quickly, I just want to, I mean, this is just some feedback that you're gonna get based on our council. The decision that comes down is in our decision.
No.
Yeah, so I just wanted to make sure that everybody.
Yeah, we're not making the decision.
knows that.
We're just saying whether,
Yeah.
as an Inuvik Town Council, whether we are for or against it, or even if we have an opinion.
And now after the discussion, you come back and basically say, probably, I'm guessing that it's pretty much indifferent. Like, how do you, it's just from the talk around the table, it's been,
Well, let's roll the council to decide based on the discussion, what we want to, what we want to do and what we want to say. But yeah, we're not making the decision, Department of Justice, yeah.
So
And
we
it's
can just,
probably-
we can go in and just say that it's up to them. The council doesn't really have an opinion, yay or nay then.
Well, we could do that, but they're asking for our opinion, and we're a council, so, that's our role. Okay, so we've got the motion on the floor, be it resolved that town council hereby directs to respond to the Minister of Finance, based on the feedback given and the adjustment of the hours from 2 to 6. Those in favor of the motion, or those opposed? Motion carried. Okay, so we'll draft that letter up and get it away. We don't have any bylaws, no departmental updates. Information items, we covered all 3 of those on item number 11, information items. Item 12, any new council concerns? I think we've covered everything.
Do you want to discuss the different community?
Under information items, isn't that? Oh, sorry, that should have been on number 11. You were handed out at the meeting the information on NWT policy position on sovereignty and security. It does say confidential on the top, so that's why we've printed it off and haven't sent it out digitally. Basically, what this is the territorial government starting their first draft on their position on Arctic sovereignty and security. And yeah, you can read it, and it identifies the position of the territorial government, indigenous governments, federal government, and community governments and the role they play. From reading through it, there are some comments that we'll probably make. Now, they do want input by the 22nd of May, and that's before our next council meeting. So what I would recommend, if you read through it and have any comments or input, email them to myself and Jenna, and then we'll compile that with a response to them before the 22nd. Yeah, I mean, they talk about the,
We could take it home, read it.
oh, you can take it home.
Okay,
Just,
cool.
it's just,
Don't distribute it.
yeah,
Okay,
it's just easier when it's half printed, not to be circulated everywhere, so that's why we decided to be more confidential. But yeah.
Okay, so I
any
can-
comments
I can pick that up on Monday then, or Tuesday or something when I'm back.
Yeah, I won't send in the comments until the 22nd or the 21st, 22nd, so you've got, the next 5-6 days to take a look at it and decide if there's any comments. I mean, one obvious comment from looking at it, they talk about one of the satellite stations, but don't talk about the other one. So just, there's some missing information when you're sitting in Yellowknife, you don't always know the lay of the land in the different communities. No mention that we're, as a community, and a role of community government could play is enhancing and facilitating the discussion on that, like we're doing with the Arctic Development Expo, which has the theme of Arctic security and Arctic sovereignty. So there's some things that we will suggest, so. But anything you have, any comments you have, send them forward to Jenna and myself. Okay, no further in-camera items unless anybody has anything. No, we're good. Okay. And that's it. Motion to adjourn by Marilyn. Thanks, everyone.